If you do not read the rule book, your head will be shaved. Welcome to the Two Tone Podcast. Welcome to the Two Tone Podcast, episode 19. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's a free way to show us that you appreciate what we're doing. But alongside me, as always, I'm Jalen Kale, for all y'all that don't know. But alongside me, as always,
Theo,
how you doing this week, kid?
I'm doing.
So, what happened with the bald head? You just giving yourself a little cut, and one of those razor strikes, and you're like, oh, that's too short. Yeah. I've been there before. I ain't even gonna lie, but in my opinion, I've always had like real short bald hair. But in my opinion, it grows back. It just takes time, It gives you a little bit of force into having to be confident about yourself, just walking around with a cue ball head, but it don't look bad. Either way, what you been up to?
Work.
I'm gonna say same on my end. Honestly, I ain't really been up to too much. Been trying to work on some music stuff, but nothing's really been coming to me as of late. With are you still working on Channel 6? Or are you what's
that
the
one's
deal
on the side. I'm working on a new one.
Okay.
I put that one on the back burner
Fair enough.
because I couldn't really get that many actors for it. So
That's understandable. It does have quite a few parts for a short.
yeah.
But what you working on now? What's the vibe with this new one?
It's kind of like a science bio, kind of like Oppenheimer, but not really like historically accurate.
Oh yeah, you were talking to me about it the other day. I must say I remember you were talking to me about a couple ideas that you had, but I didn't know that was the one you were going for. But it definitely could be interesting. It seems like you're kind of diving into practical effects a little bit, trying to figure out what looks good.
Yeah.
I want to say, especially being a creative that doesn't really what's the word I'm looking for? Doesn't really know like how to do VFX and stuff like that. I could see it almost being a little easier just to use practical effects and just kind of do a little bit of basic editing over it.
Definitely.
But it should be interesting to see what happens with this one. I always find it interesting to see the amount of people that kind of they go and see a movie or they listen to an album or whatever your creative endeavor is, and then inevitably some of their work kind of you can see the inspiration that they take from. I always find it really interesting to see what kind of stuff other creative people are into. Like the music that musicians listen to, kind of thing. But anyways, if you are new to the podcast, I do music. Theo does short films. Scrolling on the side over there. New EP, Unfuckswittable, on all streaming platforms. Go check it out. And linktree.com/JAK Productions. That'll take you to my Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and Apple Music as well. And there's also a little tab on there if you're feeling generous. You can donate to the podcast. All the proceeds from there will go to the production value, getting cameras and microphones and mic stands and whatnot. But TT over there, tell him what you got going on.
I have one short film out right now. Made a couple months ago, I want to say. It's on Glasshouse Films 8 at YouTube, and I'm in the middle of working on the new one. If you would be interested in any working with me in any capacity with background or acting, just message me on Glasshouse Films 8 on Instagram, and we can work that out.
Hell yeah. Okay, I forget what I was going with this, but anyways, let's just get on into what we got going on. So I'm gonna hit you with the quote of the week real quick before we get into anything. All right, so the quote of the week is from Edward Hopper, and it is, "If I could say it in words, there'd be no reason to paint." I like that quote a lot. You know, it's a lot of times in art and stuff you can, especially like physical art, which Edward, he was a painter. I feel like a lot of times in physical art you can kind of almost feel what the artist was going for. You know, you can kind of feel whether it's happy or sad or just kind of like a abstract kind of thing. You know, I always find it really interesting to see what creatives have to say within their art. You know, and sometimes, you know, you're just making it to make it. It doesn't really have a message, but I always enjoy to see what other people are thinking about. You know, a little kindling for the fire. But while we're here, let's hop on into what you want to do, album or film of the week first.
I guess let's do album then film.
All right, so the album of the week is "Swimming" by Mac Miller. Mac Miller was one of those artists that was really popular when I was younger, but I never really got into it too much. I never really, I heard a Mac Miller song here and there from my buddies playing it or whatever, but I was never really one for Mac Miller. And then I found out that he passed away one day from a drug overdose, and just coincidentally, he had released an album maybe like 3 or 4 months before he passed, as the album "Swimming." And so, like, on the day he passed, I was like, well, you know, I kind of pay my respects. I at least listened to the album that he made before he passed, you know. And it was "Swimming," and it just opens with this like really like melancholy song about, you know, just having regrets and being, you know, almost like a cry for help kind of song. I don't really want to say that, but I don't know. It was just like a really emotional album. And then you find out that he passed away from a drug overdose, and then you're like, damn, bro just needed help, you know. It kind of ties in with one of the points I had to talk about was drug abuse in the industry. You know, a lot of times, a lot of people, you know, they get famous out of nowhere, and then there's not really a handbook on how to handle being famous. You know.
Yeah.
There's not really too many people that you can have genuine conversations with that are, you know, have your best interest in mind, and also just trying to help somebody, you know. I feel like a lot of times people become famous, and then like the reality of being famous kind of hits them, and then they you know, they turn to substances, they turn to partying, and, you know, kind of trying to numb the pain in the moment with temporary relief. And, you know, you start doing a little bit of drugs, and then it turns into a lot of bit of drugs, and then you doing drugs just to get through the day, and then, you know, it turns to harder drugs, and it's just a downhill slope if you ain't got the right people around you. You know, it's one of those things that's like, this I don't. It's I'm definitely the kind of person that's like, live your life. If it's just me and you on this earth, and you want to smoke weed and I don't smoke weed, who the fuck am I to tell you you can't? You know, like, it's your personal choice in the end. It's not. It doesn't hurt me in any capacity. It doesn't. It doesn't do anything to me. So if you want to do it, that's your opinion. That's your choice. And I feel that way with any kind of drug, honestly. Like, if that's what you want to do, then knock yourself out, dog. I ain't. I can't help you if you don't want to help yourself. If it's that big of a problem.
I mean, I'm kind of the same way, but people think that I pressure them into not doing drugs. It's not that I'm pressuring them, it's that I'm giving them advice on what I think is good and what's bad.
Right. I'm about to say, like, me being a person that does drugs and you being a person that's sober. It's like, me and you can still coexist in the same room because we're not trying to, like, shove our philosophy down each other's throat. Like, you come to a point where you realize that, like, I'm living the life I want to live, and if you don't agree with that, then that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna pressure you into doing something that you don't find beneficial or entertaining or whatever it is you're searching from, whatever you're doing. But on the other hand, you're not over here being like, oh, I can't stand that you smoke. I can't stand that you, whatever you do. And I mean, part of it's from us being brothers and shit, but we can come to an understanding with each other. Like, I'm not gonna pressure you heavily to smoke if you really don't want to, but if you wanted to, I'm here for you, dog. It's kind of one of those things. It's like, I'd rather you get it from me. I'd rather you do it in the house and be safe than go out on the streets and do it with your friends. Yeah. But anyways, it can definitely be a slippery slope. I feel like once people get famous and stuff, they kind of tend to dive off the deep end, and the more famous you get, the more people the more people that want to take a shot with you when you're at the bar. But I don't know, it was the album that I chose. It was just like a really it was kind of an eye-opening moment, because it ended up that Mac Miller got sold drugs that were cut with some, I think it was fentanyl or some shit. I don't remember exactly what it was cut with, but it was drugs cut with something that was, potentially lethal if you took too much. And he ended up taking too much and then died of a heart attack or some shit. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I forget where I was going with this. Anyways,
would you still do drugs?
Would I? What do you mean?
Like, if you just randomly became popular and famous?
I mean, I would definitely still smoke weed. I feel like I would honestly never completely stop smoking weed. I definitely could use like a tolerance break. I've been smoking for way too fucking long, honestly. But I don't know. It's one of those things that I use it for. I use it for a whole bunch of different shit. Like, I smoke in the morning so that I'm hungry, so that I eat breakfast and I'm feeding myself throughout the day, because I'd literally wake up and just not eat breakfast and then be fucking starving at lunch and just fucking eat 2 sandwiches and 2 sides for lunch and then be wondering why I'm gaining 20 pounds, So I use it in the morning so I'm hungry, and then I use it around lunch so my knees and my back don't hurt too much, and then I use it at night so I can go to sleep. It's got so many different possibilities that you could use it for. In my opinion, I don't think I'd ever stop doing weed. I'm fucking retarded.
But would you
smoking weed? But
would you do any like other drugs? Like,
honestly, I don't really care for uppers too much because I have ADHD. So, like, literally, I've taken like 4 drinks from this energy drink and I'm like fucking keyed up right now, dog. I'm ready to I could run a marathon right now if I'm not even lying, but I really don't like uppers too much. And I mean, weed is kind of a downer, but it's not really. Um, I do like a drink every now and again. So as of late, I feel like if I were to become famous today, I feel like alcohol would be my biggest worry. I don't really feel like I don't really feel like upper would be my kind of vibe. I don't feel like I would get hooked on like cocaine or anything like that. But I feel like alcohol could definitely be a problem if I were to become famous today.
I don't.
It's just such a good social lubricant. Like, you have one drink and then you're talking to somebody at the bar that you would have never even walked up to. You're having a conversation with some random dude outside smoking a cigarette. It's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things that like I'm a little too autistic to have a good time in nature if I'm not a little bit drunk. But what was you gonna say?
If I ever became famous or popular right now, um, I don't think I would do. I don't think I would go outside.
You
Let's
just
put it
have
with
like a
that.
private lifestyle kind of deal.
Yeah, I feel like my lifestyle would kind of be like the actor who plays John Wick.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be Keanu Reeves. Like I would just be super chill, and I wouldn't like make a big deal out of it or anything. And then I'd like sit on the subway, just minding my own business,
Right.
doing what I do.
I'm about to say the person that I always think about in music when I think about it, a musician that's like really low key but like is really popular. I think of Childish Gambino. Like he's really really popular, but not a lot of people know too much about his social life. Like not too many people know that he has a kid, and like for as involved in the media that he leads like a really private lifestyle. He's in a
I
lot
mean,
of TV shows and music and shit.
I feel like I'd like show up to like Oscars and like
Well, right,
awards and
right.
stuff, but I don't feel like I would be like uh
A day in the life of a director or whatever.
I don't feel like I would be like Martin Scorsese or like any of those like major named actors that like can't go anywhere without being ran over by paparazzi or anything.
Yeah, I'm about to say I've had a few people ask me like in my life, do I want to be famous? Like, to a certain extent, you want to be famous. Like, I want to be well known. I don't want to be famous. I don't want to have to deal with, as you were saying, like paparazzi and people just being like if I get out my car and there's more than like two people being like, "Oh my God, it's bro," you know, I'm gonna be like, "Nah, I'm gonna get back in the car, put on what the little novelty glasses that have the mustache and what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Give me a little baseball. I always wear a hat, so that wouldn't really help me too much. But
Like I feel like that shit would be so irritating, just like having paparazzi and fans just all around you all the fucking
oh
time.
yeah, just bombarding you whenever you notice. Oh my
Like I'm
God.
just trying to fucking eat my dinner. Calm down.
Right.
And they're just like
Can I get
snapping
an
shots
autograph,
and
please?
asking for autographs and shit. And I feel like I wouldn't be that type of person that would like smile with my teeth. I'd just be like, they'd be like, Theo, smile. I'd be like,
Just hit him with one of these. Just
I hit him with no. I would hit him with like some weird ass like funny smiles, like the stupid smiles that I do. And mom's like, "All right, it's time for pictures," and we're on vacation and shit. And I'm just like, type shit.
that'd be fried as fuck, honestly.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean, like I would probably hang out with people that are like that, but I wouldn't hang out with them because they're famous. I'd hang out with them because they're like friends or something. But people like Brad Pitt, like if we became friends, I would hang out with them. But I'd be like, this is fucking irritating. Having to deal
I'm
with all
about to
that
say
shit.
I've always found it kind of weird how like Like, can big time actors like that have friends that are just like normal people? Like,
I don't know.
does Johnny Depp have some dude that he just like lives next to, and he's like, "Oh, hey Tim, how's it going? Oh, barbecue on Saturday? I'll bring my potato salad," Or is he just like, just sitting in his house being like, please fetch me the potato salad, Marianne.
Yeah.
Just got, but I've always found it really fucking interesting how different celebrities
How
live
fame
their
can
life.
change you.
Right. Like, if I became famous today, I'd obviously get a better apartment, or I'd probably get me a house, fuck around, ball out. But I don't understand, like, the need for like these big ass mansions and
Especially like if it's a fucking
servants and
freshly
shit.
married couple.
Oh yeah, I don't. Yeah,
Like why you need 17 rooms for two of you?
right. Y'all ain't even gonna know. You gonna get into the fourth room and be wondering where you even are. You gonna get lost in the house.
I mean, like I'd probably buy a big house, but
Excuse me.
I would buy it for like I would have parties, but I wouldn't be like the party person. Like I'd be like
Just have like a Great Gatsby kind of shit.
yeah, like I'd just
That'd
be
be fun.
hiding in my room while everybody else is having fun downstairs. And then like
Just chilling in the wine cellar while everybody's raving upstairs.
yeah, and I'd probably have like some secret like passageways built into my house so I can get through without like having to talk to everybody and their mom.
Just have a little tunnel system underneath.
Yeah, or like have like the White House walls where they like open up and you can just walk through.
It was like a bookshelf in the wall. You just walk through the wall.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking fried.
Imagine playing like hide and seek in one of those houses.
I'd fucking get lost. We were playing hide and seek for real.
That shit would be so fun though. Sorry to everybody if they see me on my phone. I'm messaging my mom.
The audacity. Speaking of audacity, in relation to the album of the week, I wanted to talk about what's your opinions on people releasing posthumous music.
Like after they're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a hard question because like it's more of their family releasing that music and not them.
Well, I'm aware, but what do you think of people releasing dead people's music?
I mean, I understand like if it's like your mom or something, but if it's just like some random like cousin releasing your songs, like why? You can't make your life better by doing it yourself. You have to use my name to do it. Type shit.
I have a very harsh take on this. I feel like if you release posthumous music, then you're desecrating the entire like memory of that person. There's a reason that the songs that they had in the vault didn't come out when they were alive. There's a reason they didn't release that music. I can't fucking stand when people release posthumous music. Like 9 times out of 10, it'll be a decent song. But
like if I was like a musician and I like became popular and then died randomly,
right,
I would put out I would have a list that I would give like Mom or someone like Mom, you or Arthur,
right,
and I'd be like, all right, these are the songs that you can release, but they're the only ones.
right. I'm about to say, like, if I died tomorrow and any other music came out under my name, I'm gonna haunt whoever the fuck did it for the rest of your life. I really
would you give the like would you write a list out and be like these are the songs you can release?
Nope.
Or just any
what
music
came out is what came out. If I die tomorrow, don't touch the iPad I make my music on. Don't touch my keyboard. Don't touch the guitar. Don't touch the looper. Throw it all away. Put it in a vault. Don't fucking touch it.
What if I want to touch it just to play with it?
All right, you can play it, but nothing goes to distribution ever.
Okay.
I will haunt you.
Okay.
I think that shit is so greasy. I think it's a fucking money trap. I feel like people that do that just want, as you were saying, just want to use the name of the person to just get money and get clout, you know. But well, 9 times out of 10, you know, they ain't trying to get clout. But like with Mac Miller, he passed away, and then about a year after, album came out.
Or like X.
Yeah, like XXX Tentacion, or
I
like
think
Juice
his
World,
mom is releasing all of his music.
or like Juice World. Like the amount of music that's come out after Juice World passed away is probably equivalent to the amount of music that he put out when he was alive.
Yeah.
I really don't fuck. I don't know what it is about it, but I just don't fuck with it.
I mean, I can understand that point of view, but I can also understand like family members, because I feel like mom would release some type of. I mean, she probably wouldn't put it under your name, but she would put it out and just be like, in remembrance of Jalen or something.
I mean, I use the songs that I've already made. You know, that's like there's so many. The only way that I could justify putting out posthumous music would be is like if the song is already like in production, if the song is already cut, mixed, and been like had a release date, you know, like if I died tomorrow, but I already had my music in the distribution to be published on, 3 days from now.
But what if it's just like you mixed it and cut it, but you just
Never, if I had a full song mixed and cut, ready to release, but never like
but
pulled
never
the
put
trigger
it,
on releasing it.
but never like put a date or anything on.
No, that song lives in the void forever. It doesn't matter if it's a banger. It doesn't matter if it's shit.
So even a song that you meant
Don't touch it.
even a song you wanted to release, but you just didn't put a timestamp on it.
If I didn't want to release it, it's not ready to be released. That's my opinion on music in general. Like, there are certain rappers and shit that just release music to release music, but if 9 times out of 10, if it's a real creative endeavor, then somebody's not going to release the music if they don't feel like it's ready to be received, It's just one of those things that really fucking bugs me when people, especially with like Juice World and shit, with like Juice World and XXX Tentacion.
But let's say like you made the song, right?
Right.
And you want like you're going to have a meeting with 3 days with the distributor or whatever.
Right.
But you die the next day. That song ain't being released.
Nope. It lives in the void forever.
Okay.
Unless it's in distribution's hands. No. It doesn't get heard ever. It doesn't even make it to the meeting. Like I really don't like when people release posthumous music. It's one of those things that it just feels like a money grab, and it feels like disrespectful to the artist, Like, as I said, that if the artist wanted it to be heard, it would have been released. It's just one of those things that, bugs me about the industry. But anyways, we can stop talking about this. Onward and upward to the film of the week. So, film of the week, hit me with it.
Did you change it, or are we still?
Did I change what?
Did you get my text before?
Yeah.
It's Drumline.
Okay.
I thought you didn't change it.
No, I changed it. I
was
got you.
confused. But yeah, it's Drumline.
So, Drumline. What made you what made you choose Drumline?
Michael Jordan. This thing. Right here.
So if you didn't catch it from the beginning, there's a scene in Drumline when there's a rule book that they have to read when Nick Cannon's character makes it to the Drumline, and the last rule in the rule book is if you don't read the rule book, your head will be shaved. And then he obviously doesn't read the rule book, so he gets a head shaved. And his drum major also has a shaved head, coincidentally, and the drum major goes, "You may look like me, but you will never play like me." I say that shit to TT all the time. Coincidentally coming with a haircut on the same day at work and be like, "This motherfucker, you may look like me, but you will never play like me." It's just a little inside joke between the two of us. But anyways, what made anything other than your haircut made you choose Drumline?
Not really.
That's fair enough. Anyway, Drumline's one of those movies. It's a great movie from my childhood that I always enjoyed watching. I'd literally watch it on repeat if I could. But I almost was in the Drumline in middle school, but I ended up, not being able to get in.
Middle school.
Didn't have money or whatever it was. Yeah, I went to Greenwood Middle School for a year.
Oh, I was like middle school. We didn't have a Drumline in middle school, but then I remembered that.
Yeah, I went to
we
Greenwood
went to,
for 1 year.
Schools.
I went to Greenwood for 1 year, and then we ended up going to OLG.
But yeah.
But anyways, Drumline was definitely one of the movies that inspired me to become a musician. I've always had a love for that movie. The scene where bro, oh damn, I guess I could switch the picture over. This scene right here where bro is Nick Cannon's character is teaching the other guy how to play the drums. If you haven't seen Drumline, bro, go check it out. I forgot to add where it's available at, but I believe it's on Hulu, if I'm correct. But anyways, Drumline, man, it's a fucking classic. Speaking of Drumline, did you know they made a second Drumline?
No.
Me neither. It literally came out like 12 years after the fucking first one, which is another talking point I have. What is your opinion on movies that like the sequel comes out 10, 15, 20 years later?
Like Beetlejuice?
Like anything that they're making today.
Like Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what the movie is, I understand it, but some movies just don't need that. Like Drumline, I don't understand why they did that.
I literally had no idea they even made a second Drumline until I was, cutting pictures and shit for the podcast. And then I was like, what the fuck? They made a second Drumline from when? When the fuck did they do this? And the first one came out in like 2002 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
But the second one came out in 2014. And I was like, what? For what?
But like, there's some films that don't need it, but people would like to see it. Like Beetlejuice, I understand why.
Or like Avatar, the first one came out and then you literally waited 6, 7, I forget how long it was, but a lot of fucking periodically time.
Yeah.
Until the second one came out.
I've never understood the fascination with Avatar. Just hasn't gripped me in any way.
I'm about to say
it's just blue people running around a jungle for 3 hours.
I don't like Avatar for the same reason I didn't like Oppenheimer at first. When I first went to see Avatar, they loaded the fucking film in upside down and backwards. I've talked about this on the podcast before, I'm pretty sure, but it was just such a terrible experience. We're sitting here just like, what the fuck is actually going on right now? And we ended up getting our money back and leaving and never saw the first Avatar. And then the second one came out and everybody was like, "Oh shit, Avatar's coming back." And I'm like, "Well, I don't fucking care at all, really."
To me, Avatar, in my opinion, which will probably rub some people wrong, is just in my opinion, it's just a futuristic version of Lord of the Rings.
Interesting. I'm gonna say Lord of the Rings is also one of those series that I've never seen. I just never really captured my interest in wanting to see it.
I started the Lord of the Rings and I was like, this film is literally just 3 hours of dwarf people walking through the woods trying to find some bullshit.
Sounds like a good time to me.
It's like, why do I want to sit here and watch watch these people walk through woods for 3 hours.
It doesn't sound interesting to me in the slightest. I don't know. It's just one of those series that's never really grabbed my attention, honestly.
Star Wars, I can kind of get behind the originals. None of the new shit. Any of the new shit in Star Wars just doesn't. It just irritates the fuck out of me.
I'm about to say we talked about this on like the second or third episode, but
it's just you made way too many movies that don't need to be made.
Right. I feel like it's the same storyline over and over and over. You know, you got the first three, 4, 5, and 6.
I understand like Han Solo. Like I understand the Solo, like franchise or whatever, because like it gives backstory to like Han Solo and where he came from.
Right.
And like Mandalorian, that also gives backstory to the Mandalorian. But like I don't need fucking Anakin Skywalker teaching whatever her fucking name is how to be a Jedi. Like that shit's pointless. It's literally just Star Wars, but you flipped the actors in it and tried to make money off of it, and it's like the originals were fine.
Right. I'm definitely, in my opinion, the first 6, 4, 5, and 6 were made, and then 1, 2, and 3. I feel like that was a good, stopping point to the series, and then they made what is it? So fucking 7, 8, and 9. I think they're on 9. They've made 9. I don't remember.
They made fucking What was the one? What was the girl's name?
Rey.
Yeah, the one with when they started with Rey was so pointless in my opinion. It's like it's just the original Star Wars, but with different characters as leads.
It definitely kind of does seem like a money grab in my opinion, but that's fucking Disney. They're gonna pump out shit that they know will do well. They're gonna continue to make shit that they feel like the people would like, even if they don't.
Like all the live action remakes.
Yeah, I'm exactly like that. Like they're just remaking shit just to get more money.
Like if they stopped with the originals, I would have been fine with that.
Me too.
The originals and possibly some like backstory ones like Solo and
yeah, I can kind of understand like the oh fuck, this chair hurting my ass. I can kind of understand the like the spin-off series, get a little bit more backstory on certain characters and stuff, but I definitely feel like they're kind of taking it a little too far with all of the spin-offs that they have, Yeah. But
I mean, I kind of understand where they're going with it because they're trying to cover like the whole universe, and it's like, bro, it's a story about 3 guys. You don't need a spinoff for every fucking villain that they face. But to each their own.
They're gonna get that money regardless. So
I also hate the way that they fucking released it, the originals. Why are you gonna make the first 3 movies the ending, and then make the beginning as the next 3?
Well, I mean, canonically, it starts off with episode 1.
Or
so
like, yeah,
from what I've
so
heard,
weird.
From what I've heard,
it's like 1, 2, 3 until you get halfway, then you stop it, then you watch 5, 6, and then you go back to 3, and then you go back to 7, and it's like, why?
The way I've heard it, I don't know if this is completely correct, but the way I've heard it before is that when what's his nuts, the fucking George Lucas. There we go. When George Lucas was pitching Star Wars to the production company, he pitched 1 through 6 like being what they were gonna make, but they were like, I don't think we'll have the budget to make all 6 of them, so just kind of either choose the first 3 or the last 3, and then we'll make those. So he ended up choosing the last 3 and making those, and then later when they became popular, like really, really popular, like a cult classic, they made 1, 2, and 3 in the early 2000s. But I don't know if that's 100% correct, but that's what I've heard, the explanation for why 4, 5, and 6 came out so much earlier than 1, 2, and 3.
It's still in my brain. Because like if he had the option to choose between 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6, you should have just gone with 1, 2, and 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. It made so
I
much
mean,
more
I get
sense.
that, but
I mean,
as I said, I feel like it's the same. Like 1, 2, and 3 is essentially the same plot as 4, 5, and 6. You know, I feel like he felt like the characters were more connect. Like the audience would connect with Luke Skywalker more than they would connect with Anakin turning into Darth Vader. You know, Luke Skywalker is like a true hero story, as where Anakin falls off into the dark side. You know, you never really get to see what he does with Darth Vader. And then you kind of get that mystery of like who is Darth Vader. I feel like that's why they went back and did 1, 2, and 3 when they did it.
but anyways,
In two ways.
yeah, I understand why some films did what. Like I understand why Beetlejuice is making another Beetlejuice, but I don't understand why they made another Drumline.
I'm about to say I feel like the success of a sequel like far after the first one came out just kind of depends on a how big the film was originally, and like
And like
how much.
Beetlejuice is a cult classic.
Yeah,
Like people are gonna be like, you'd be like, oh, have you seen Beetlejuice? They'd be like, yeah, I fucking love that film. But nobody's gonna be like, have you seen Drumline?
right. Like there's certain movies where like we don't need the sequel. Like
Yeah.
Drumline, and specifically the case of Drumline, like it ended on a pretty decent note. You know, it was it really didn't need the sequel. I've never even seen the sequel, but I know it's probably not as good as the original. That's usually how it goes.
And like there's some films where I don't understand. Like they'll finish the film, and it's like you can't do anything. Like you can't start a new film because there's nothing to fucking start, and then they just randomly start it. I'm like, the fuck is this? This has nothing to do with the first one.
Right. They put a little bow on the first one, and you know it's done. And then
Yeah.
they come out with the second one, and like where does this even correlate to the first one? You know, like I bet you $20 the second one is like Nick Cannon's daughter or some shit being the drumline, or you know his nephew or some shit. I don't fucking know.
Probably.
I haven't seen it, but either way, I'm sure it's just some like loosely based
Doo-doo.
connection to the first one. Like the chick goes to the same school or some shit. I don't know. But anyways, let's move past this. What else do we got to talk about? Okay. Where were we? All right. The Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers versus the Writers Guild Association, right?
Oh.
I heard some interesting things over the week from the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers side.
I didn't hear anything about that.
I heard I don't know how accurate this is, so don't take my word for it, but there's this thing I saw. I'll read you the little quote from the website I was on. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers is in the strike for the long haul, with the plans to let the Writers Guild of America bleed out before resuming negotiations. The end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses.
Yeah, I heard about that.
What the fuck? That shit's crazy. If that's true, that's wild as fuck. They're just gonna hold out until people just can't afford to live in the city anymore. And you know,
Yeah.
I feel like Los Angeles is always gonna be one of those places that that people, you know, kind of flock towards to be a star, you know, whether it be on the internet or a writer or.
I mean, that shit is terrible, but it also gives chances to new states.
that
You
is
think
very
about
true.
it. Because if they can't live in LA, they're gonna go somewhere else.
I'm gonna say I've heard a lot of talk about Austin becoming the new hub for like movies and TV, and a lot of comedians are moving to Austin. Yeah, Joe Rogan moved out there a little while ago. Tom Segura's out there. But
which will bring money to that state. But it also it can also show like the big name brands like Disney and all those places that we don't really need them as producers to make shit. Cause like we could literally start anywhere. Like if every fucking goddamn motherfucking director decided, oh, we can't live in LA, so let's move to Indiana. You know how many stories would be written and how like big Indiana would be because of that?
oh yeah, I'm about to say
cuz cuz like directors, like especially like famous directors, like the ones that are on strike and shit that are helping actors and stuff. Like if they write something, the actors are going to be like, "Oh yeah, shit, let's go over there," instead of working with these big ass companies like Disney where they're not going to pay us shit. Let's work for this director and we'll know that it will pay us better than working with whoever the fuck that is.
right. I'm back to what you were saying about like bringing money into the state. I feel like Hollywood is only as big as it is because it has like the history behind it. A lot of people are like, go out to Los Angeles, go out to Hollywood, and that's where you become big.
Hollywood is a mindset, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of a place.
Exactly what I'm
like
getting
Hollywood
at.
could literally be anywhere. It could be in fucking Afghanistan, and people would go there.
Right. It's really only a location because everybody else has said it is.
Yeah.
That's a big thing that I'm seeing, like in the comedy space. I listen to a lot of comedy podcasts. But as I was saying, Joe Rogan moved out there and built a comedy club. So now Austin has multiple comedy clubs that they can go to and work out material that are owned by people that are, at the top of the game in comedy.
And it also like it shows people that are wanting to become directors and actors and all that like indie film is basic, or indie anything is where you should be starting, because like most of the films that are made that aren't in like big companies are indie films. So that means like if a big director, like say Quentin Tarantino, decides that he wants to leave Hollywood and make a film, that film's going to be an indie film because it's not backed by Disney or any of these big companies.
Right. As you were saying, like it definitely is a mindset. It's true that you can start something anywhere. You just have to have a big enough crew with you to like actually push through it and actually get to a place where you can be at the top of the heap with other creatives in your endeavor.
That's why for like the longest time I was like, I need to move out to like Hollywood or LA or something. But since the strikes happened, I can't really do that because then there wouldn't be any work. But I need to move out there so I can get like more connections into the business that I want to work in.
Right.
Whereas like in Indiana, there's barely anybody.
Right. Entertainment in any facet is all about connections. It's all about who you know and who knows you.
Yeah.
It's one of those games of cat and mouse. You don't want to put yourself too much out there, but you gotta start somewhere.
That's what Kyle said. He moved to LA because of that. Because it was hard. It was hard to find connections here, so he moved out there to find connections.
I mean, that's understandable, 100%. You gotta move with like-minded people to get where you want to go.
But yeah, with that, fuck the big companies at this point.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you don't need the big companies to follow your dreams and passions in life.
Most definitely. It does make it a little easier to get your stuff out there and actually have it seen. But if it's something that you're truly indebted to. You know, you're gonna find time. You're gonna find people to watch it. You're gonna find a way to do it that pleases you in the end. You know.
Yeah. And you won't have to work with all these producers breathing down your neck trying to hurry up shit where you can just in indie films you can take your time and do everything you want to make it as good as possible.
Most definitely.
Like you got all like I was watching Adam Savage because he's on YouTube. I was watching him
Mm-hmm.
one of his videos and he was talking about how like uh all these big companies that are like doing films and asking for people to make props for them will like they'll meet with the head of the film and stuff and they'll be like, all right, we'll set this amount of money, but this is the only amount of money we'll pay you to get what you need. And then like all these big name people are like breathing down prop makers' necks and stuff because they're like, all right, we need this, this, and this, but we need it made by this time. And then they'll like 5 days later they'll be like, oh no, we need that and that. And can you put this in there? And then like you're just fucking up the flow of the prop maker to fit your needs instead of asking for more money from.
Right, and then they get mad because it takes more money to do what they actually wanted instead of what they told you in the first place. And it's just a whole fucking game of ring around the rosy, trying to find out what you need actually and what you're willing to pay for it.
Yeah, but like in indie films, I could sit in my room and make a prop for like a month and a half and be like, all right, it's good to go.
Right.
Let's make this.
Right. You just have a little bit more of control over what ends up happening with the end product in an indie film, I feel like.
Definitely.
Very interesting. That's all I really had for the topics today. We're about 52 minutes if you want to cut it. You got anything else to talk about?
Oh, with the Actors Guild and Writers Strike, I've seen like a bunch of like these famous actors and stuff just walking the picket lines, and it's crazy to see just like them acting like normal Joes when they're like big name celebrities and shit.
I've heard a few takes on this. I've heard a few people being like, well, if you see these really, really big actors on the picket lines and stuff, I've heard the take where it's like, you know, good for them, you know, they're out there with the regular person just, you know, fighting for their rights and stuff. But I've also heard on the flip side of that that like we know that you have plenty of money, you know, like you're just kind of doing this as a publicity stunt essentially. So I found it interesting. What is your take on it? Do you find it to be genuine, or do you think they're just kind of doing it to, you know, seem like they're being helpful?
There's some that do it because they're genuine about being on strike, but then I feel like there's also some that just do it for publicity purposes. But that's just. But I think it's crazy just seeing all these like big name actors just walking the picket.
It definitely is interesting to see who comes out, you know, just see who in either circumstance, see who's you know, really trying to help the writers and who's out there just for, you know, just for the Instagram pictures or whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how this all goes down. I feel like there's definitely going to be quite the blank spot on movie history coming up in the next couple months, you know. I feel like not much is going to be produced, not much is going to come out other than, you know, low budget indie films that people are, you know, really interested in making.
Did you see the actors in Oppenheimer walked out of the screening?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, when Oppenheimer came out, they went to the screening, but before the film started, they all walked out because they were in solidarity with the strike.
Interesting. I never even heard about that.
And
That's
Christopher
right.
Nolan was like, "Yeah, they're in solidarity with the strike, and I understand why they walked out." And I was like, Christopher Nolan was just standing there. He was just, yep,
Do what you gotta do, buddy.
like he couldn't, like it was kind of funny because like all these reporters were just standing around him, and he was just standing there answering their questions by himself.
That is pretty fucking fried.
And all the
I've never,
actors were just
I hadn't
gone.
heard of that. No, that's fucking hilarious though.
Yeah. I also think Margot Robbie, Margaret Robbie also did it. Walked out of the premiere of Barbie.
I still haven't
But,
seen Barbie. I've heard a lot of controversy around Barbie with certain people, but I'll probably end up watching it. Honestly, it seems like a good time. I've heard quite a bit of good reviews from it, but anyways, I want to say thank you one more time for watching the Two Tone Podcast. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's a free way to show us you appreciate what we're doing. But more importantly, share it with your friends, your cousin, your sister, your Goldfish's nephew. We appreciate all y'all that are subscribed so far. You got anything else to leave us off with the podcast, T?
Don't live your life based on other people's opinions.
You heard it here first. All right. Thank you for watching, and this has been the Two Tone Podcast. Michael Jordan.